Hi, I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
And I'm Arthur Nolan.
And welcome to Making It Work. You know, Arthur, we were so blessed to have a wonderful guest with us, and he was gracious enough to come back to do part 2 for us. Welcome back, Jerrell Shine. We had opportunity for you to share your testimony about losing your mother, your grandmother, and your little cousin by gunshots by your cousin. And we know there's been a difficult time this last a month or so since February 14th, 15th, around that time, around that February 15th. So now you're back to talk about with us some of the impact. I want to know how their lives and not them being in your life anymore physically has impacted you to change, or has it changed you?
Well, yes, it's changed for the best because I now understand that I have to live for them, and I cannot let my mother and my grandmother's name go down in vain. I must be the person that stands firm and show the world that you can lose the key pieces to your life, but not lose it mentally.
All right.
That's when you see me, you see a guy that hasn't lost it mentally.
Because you could have lost it at that moment when you saw your grandmother and your mother lying there and you didn't
Most
get a
definitely.
pulse. You could have just lost it right then and there.
Most definitely.
But what kept your mind together? What was it that said, not no?
I realized everything that my mother always told me, how she raised me. She always said, well, Jerrell, if something happened to me, make sure you take care of your brother and your sister. Take care of your son. Take care of your family. You know, she need me now more than ever. And this is my time. I have to step up and be the man that I've always been.
And how are your siblings responding to you, you know, as being like now the leader of the family?
Well, me and my stepfather are like, he's plan A captain.
Okay.
I'm like plan B captain.
Okay.
So, you know,
forgot about your
he's the
stepdad,
overseer,
right.
and I'm right there making sure the kids do what he say. But I've always been in their lives. I've changed their Pampers, made bottles, and me and my mother used to bathe them in the kitchen sink. So it's not like I'm just not coming into their lives.
Right.
You know, I've always been there.
Whenever you hear on the news someone has been shot or killed, what happens to you at that moment? Do you watch the news?
Previously or now?
Now.
No, I can't watch it. I was about a few weeks ago, this show called The First 48 was on, and it got to the part where the family showed up to the crime scene and got the falling out, and I was able to identify with their pain, and I started feeling a little weak, and I had to turn it, and I haven't watched. It's hard for me to watch TV because there's a lot of violence on every station. Yeah.
Every time you turn around, there's something happening. We're talking about choices, if you're just joining us, and the choices that this young man is now making. You know, what do you do for a living?
What I do for a living is I'm a part-time student, and I'm a high-low truck driver.
Okay. What does a high-low truck driver do?
He pick up stuff that's too heavy that a man cannot pick up himself.
Okay.
Driving from point A to point B.
Okay, so you do this 8 hours every day.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And then you come back and you go to school.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then you repeat every day. Are you in school every day?
No, I'm not. I go like 3 times a week.
Okay.
3 times a week.
And we talked about your career choice is mortuary science.
Yes, ma'am.
Why that field?
For one, my mom always told me come up with a plan. The plan I came up with was, I said, what can I go to school for and it's not gonna lay off, it gets slow.
Yeah.
And I just come up, I was like medicine, law, or, you know, medicine, law. So I came up with mortuary science. People die every day, you know.
That's true.
And I have the heart and the brain and the mental capacity to get the job done.
What about your spirituality? You know, how has all of this, all the things that you experienced, affected you and your relationship with God?
Well, affect, I wouldn't use the word affect. It haven't affected me none. What it has done for me was get me closer to God, because now I really understand that you got to put some stuff in God's hands. You can't just do it. You can't get it done by yourself, so to speak.
So, with that being said, what about the siblings, your brothers? Do you have a brother and sister?
I have a 17-year-old brother and a 15-year-old sister.
Okay. So, do they attend church with you, or do they go on a regular basis?
Yes, sir. They go on a regular basis, and my sister, she's praise team, choir. And my brother, he just sits there and listen to the music. But my sister, she's very involved. She's very involved.
So, how are you there for them? During the tragedy that occurred, I mean, how did you support them?
Okay, well, honestly, at first, I would say it was hard for me to support them because I had my own issues that I was dealing with, and I believe the way I was coming off was probably a little scary for them because they never saw me emotional, they never saw me cry, they never saw me fall out on the floor. They've never seen me like this. They always saw me as their big brother, the guy that they turn to for strength. And at that point in time, I believe they saw a weak man and not really realizing that I was just frustrated and just hurt and confused.
And was that for a period of time? Because we're talking about something that happened. Did this expression of emotions occur like over months, or was it?
Well, honestly, it's got better.
Okay.
At first, I couldn't control it. I just could not control it. I would sit up and sit there, and I would I would hear a song, a Marvin Gaye song, "I Want You," and that's one of my mother's favorite songs, and it was just hard for me and my brother actually to listen to, her music.
Your sister, your aunt, your mother's sister, was planning to get married during that time when you lost your mom and grandmother, and she recently got married.
Yes, ma'am.
And you attended the wedding.
Yes, I did.
And how is your aunt doing? Because she lost a mother and a sister and a niece.
Yes.
How's she doing?
Well, she's doing. I can't say she's doing great, like I said about everyone in my immediate family. But the best thing about her getting married was she got married April 5th. That was the weekend we were all supposed to be in Montego Bay together. But that was the first day since February 15th that I had a genuine smile. I had a genuine, like a sigh of relief when I saw her and her husband come through that door for the first time. I said, thank God there is a God. Now we finally have some type of hope, an uplifted, kind of event besides a funeral, because at that point we had been to 3 funerals in a matter of 6 weeks.
Right.
So, I'm completely numb.
So after experiencing that lift, I mean, did you kind of transfer emotions to your aunt as being, because you lost your mom, you lost your grandmother? Well, so do you transfer some of those feelings towards your aunt to try to put her in the role of your mom or your grandmother?
Well, honestly, my mom and my grandma, they're like their own type of people. I could never replace my mother and my grandma with an aunt, but what I can do is build our relationship, make it stronger, and hopefully we can, just be one again, because the family will never be the same. Never, ever, ever.
I'm sure it wouldn't.
Are you angry at your other aunt, your cousin Dee's mother? When you see her, you saw her at your cousin's funeral. Was she at the wedding?
Yes, she was.
What's your relationship with her?
Well, my relationship with her is, we still have a relationship. Like I said, she's always been a second mom to me. She's never made me feel unwanted, unappreciated. every Christmas, every birthday, every graduation, every good deed in my life that I was involved in, she was there with my mother. So I can't just turn my back on her because she still have a place in my heart, you know, and I'm going to always love her. I'm going to always love her.
Do you know if she's seen her son, your cousin?
I'm not for sure.
But you haven't asked or anything like that?
I don't inquire on anything that have to do with
But you stated that you will attend the trial.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Only to make sure justice prevails.
Will you think he will speak at the trial?
I don't know what he would do.
No, you. If they ask for families.
Most definitely. Yes,
speak.
indeed. I'm gonna speak, and I'm gonna see. When I speak, I'm speaking for my mom, my grandma, my 7-year-old cousin. So whenever anyone says, "Jerrell Shine, can you speak on the subject of your mother, your grandmother, and your baby cousin?" Yes, I'll jump up and I'll speak in front of whoever. Yes.
What about the communication that you have with your aunt? You know, I mean, is it difficult for you to communicate with her?
It's not difficult, but that's his mother. So you know, it would be just difficult to know someone for 29 years and then all of a sudden you just can't talk to them. You know.
But Jerrell, come on, let's be real. You know, if I could just go there with you, this woman is your aunt. Her son killed your grandmother, your mother, your baby cousin, which was his own child. You know, the anger, the rage, you know, I want to take it out on somebody, but you're not. I mean, I look at you, you look cool, calm, and collected, you know, as if nothing has happened. Where's all this restraint coming from?
Is that really how I look?
That's how you look.
It looks like you are really, really in control
of your
emotions,
everything, you know. Everything in your life is well, and I don't have a problem in the world.
No, that's not how I look, you know. Someone the other day said, "Well, you're looking good, you look good." And I told them, I say, well, in order to look like this, you got to go through a lot of heartache and pain. You got to been to hit the floor a couple of times. You know, if your knees give out, you can't stand, so you're only going to hit the floor. So I'm in control. I feel like we all have choices that can be made. And like I said once before, just because someone kills your mother, your grandmother, and your baby cousin doesn't mean you have to lose your mind because they lost theirs.
Now that makes a lot of sense, you know, and I really respect that answer. That takes a lot of strength, you know, for you to even say that. But we're still dealing with the fact that your mom and your grandma and your baby cousin, you know, were murdered by someone, and you really don't have an answer to why it was done. You know, even though there may be some things said.
Or speculation.
Yeah, but you really don't have that answered. And you seem to be dealing with all of this in a way. And I would attribute to you being able to communicate all these, of why you're dealing with these things, to your relationship with God. That would be my first thought.
Yes.
You know, I don't know if there's any other motivation behind.
Motivation, I have a 3-year-old son.
Okay, that makes sense.
I have a 3-year-old son. My biological father went to prison when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
He got out when I was 18. I refuse to leave my son out in this world with just his mom and extended family, because when you're dealing with a child, no one will love a child like their mother and their father. And that's my motivation. I hear my mom. My mom raised me under strict discipline. That's how come I'm able to be disciplined in a time like this, not turn my anger and rage towards anyone else in society. My mother just raised me to be a disciplined, responsible, independent young man. And that's what hopefully the world will be able to see that.
Jerrell, you never got in trouble when you were in elementary school, middle, high school? Did you ever go to jail, juvenile?
I've never been a juvenile, but yes, I went to jail before.
Oh,
Yes.
can I ask you for what reason?
Yes, you may. I went to jail for fleeing and eluding in 2004, April 7th, 2004.
Is that what did your mother do to you?
Well, what my mom did was, first of all, she never supported me. She never, ever since I was little, my mother and my grandma said, if you go to jail, don't call me. That's how my family operates, because they were letting me know as a child that you can't just be out here doing any and everything and think we gonna have your back, because we're not. So what did my mom do? My mom, she never came to court. I paid my own way out of that. She never put anything on nothing. My mother was about the right thing, not the wrong thing. Okay, so if you're involved in something wrong, sayonara. But if it's a good deed, I'm your number one fan. I'm rooting for you, baby. I'm rooting for you. But something bad, she turned her back. Yeah.
So how did you rebuild her trust in that relationship at that time? And how old were you?
I was 20. I was 20.
So how
About
did
to
you
be
rebuild
21.
her trust with you? Mom, I hear you, Mom. I'm going to turn this around. Mom, please don't close the door on me. What did you do?
What did I do? I believe I became a man. I believe I became a man. It's not about chronological age. It's about mental capacity. I believe I became a man. I just, just grew. Made the decision to go back to school. Made a decision never to implicate certain actions in front of my younger brother, so it would entice him to do certain things. Just always guiding my brother and my sister in the right way. I used to say, Mom, when I graduate college, that's my way of repaying you back, for whatever I've done bad as a child. And she would say, Real, you wasn't a bad kid. And I say, but Mom, I got in trouble. And she like, Real, I work for the prison system. You're not a bad kid. I know bad children. So she was just like, you just a young man, had to find your way. Thank God you found it.
So she wasn't trying to be your friend. She was actually being a parent. Your mother parented you.
My mother was my mother. I got to make this clear. My mother's 1,000,000% heterosexual. My mother was my mother, my uncle, and my father, all in one. Meaning she wasn't, oh, you want some more supper? Let me. She was, get in there and do it how I told you to do it. Do it right the first time, and you won't have to do it again. Stern, very stern.
And that's why she raised you.
Yes.
Let me ask you about your relationship with your biological dad. He was in prison from 4 up until the age of 18?
3 to 15 years.
Okay. And how is your relationship with him now?
Well, my father passed in 2010, July 20th, 2010.
Okay. So how was the relationship when he finally came out of prison?
It was, honestly, it was sort of like the same from being in prison.
Really? So
yes,
you didn't get a chance to really develop a sincere relationship with him?
No, sir.
Okay. What about his relatives? Did you deal much as far as interacting with them?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. My father's family, believe it or not, by me never being able to have a relationship with my father, I feel like my father's side of the family has always compensated for that. Okay. My grandma Muddy, I credit her and my grandfather, Johnny Wilson Jr., for me having this yes ma'am, no sir, yes sir thing about myself.
So can you say it again? So you say yes sir and no ma'am, and you use that even out to this day as a young man?
Yes ma'am.
I want to thank you. I believe in that same theory. I don't know what has happened to our society where we can say yeah, no, yes to our parents. What has happened, and even to my mother to this day, is yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir. Even when, I don't care where I am, I give that respect.
Yes.
And I think that's a good characteristic to have.
Of course it is. I think it's really important. And then coming from a young black man,
yes,
to be raised up with some challenges, and you still was able to hold on to that dynamic that you got from your grandparents.
Yes, sir.
That's really important. But you never had an opportunity to really sit down and talk to your biological dad about your feelings.
No, I haven't.
Is that something that you wanted to do? Did you ever have a desire to do, or were you angry about the fact that he was locked up?
Well, honestly, I can't sit before you and just so to speak, dog my father out.
No,
It was
right.
it was a two-way street. The day I got the call from my Aunt Betty stating that Jerrell, your father had a heart attack in his house, and that's the day, July 20th. I was like 2:30 p.m. 2010. I was coming from Sports Authority with my younger brother, and that's the day that all of a sudden all those negative feelings had just left my body. I was like, oh Jesus, now at first I had a choice whether I could call him or not. No, I'm not gonna call. No, I'm not gonna call just because I had a choice. But when I got that call saying that your father has passed, I was so devastated and hurt that I had been being selfish. I was a grown man just like my father was at that time. I could have took the initiative to call him. I had his phone number. He had mine. I would call him every so often, but we never got a chance to develop a relationship. And I look just like my father, just like him, just like him.
And that's also your motivation for you not to be placed in a situation where you would be incarcerated.
Yes,
Because you wouldn't want your son.
I remember how it felt as a young boy.
Yeah, and that's really important.
Do you think your mother had a fear when you got in trouble that you were going the same direction of your father? Did she ever talk about that? You cannot do this.
We never talked about that.
Okay.
We never talked about me following in the footsteps of my father because I didn't have the desire to be like him. I wasn't a kid who ran in and out of jail or, I wasn't like that. I made one or two choices, one or two bad mistakes and paid the consequences for it, and I moved on. It's not cool, it's not fun, it's not nothing to be glorified to go to jail or prison. There's nothing interesting about standing in a courtroom and your fate is in other people's hands. Like that's not hip. It's much more hipper to go to college,
Come on.
get a PhD, get master's, bachelor's, whatever degrees you can. That's cool to me. That's what I want to tell the young guys standing at the gas stations with their pants down in here. I know how they think. I used to think like them, but I told my mother, I say, Mom, if I can go back to college and graduate, any one of these young guys can. Any from Linwood, from Brightmoor, Flint, all over the east side of Detroit, any one of them can. When they look at me, they looking at themselves, actually.
I think his relationship with God stands out. And that, to me, is the motivation for you to continue to do the things that you're doing in the positive manner.
Yes, sir.
Your relationship with God, and as you have expressed those feelings here today and also in the last segment that we completed with you, that stands out even more. Your desire to be successful, that stands out. I think what was said about why you do the things you do is really, really important. And I think there's some young men that may be looking at this program right now that needed to hear that from you, because you are a success story. I don't know all the dynamics that was involved in you being raised the way you were, and the circumstances that happened in your life. But I know God has his hand on you. And I know that with your desire to be successful, with your desire to maintain your relationship with him, you're going to accomplish some mighty, mighty things in your life.
Jerrell, can you look at that camera? We're just going to let you talk to the young men and young people out there and let them know that if you can make it, they can make it with God's help. Just talk into that camera.
Well, I've actually been waiting on this chance to spread the word to the younger generation. I'm 29 years old. I was born in 1983 in Detroit, Michigan. I've been here ever since '83. I moved to Alabama in the early '90s, come back. I've witnessed a lot of things, from the so-called street life, glorifying drug dealers, seeing them shot down and killed. I've witnessed family turn on family. So what I'm trying to say is, we all have choices, you know. When you seen the things that I've saw, there was a point in time in my life 10 years ago, I wouldn't be carrying myself like this. I would be carrying a gun, trying to hurt someone because of my inner pain dealing with what I'm dealing with. But if I can stand up, anybody can. Put the guns down, pick up a book, pick up a college catalog book, go to the college, talk to an academic advisor, and move on with your life. There's nothing cool about getting 30, 40 years in prison by the age of 22. It's nothing fun about being in a prison facility and 30 guys could bang your head in and do whatever they want to do to you, and that's not cool. So stop throwing stones at the penitentiary. Pick up a book, pick up a pen, a pencil, start writing down your goals, your short-term goals, long-term goals for 5 years, 10 years, even 15 years. Amen. Men, take care of your kids. If you're having kids, even if you got 4 kids by 4 different women, take care of each household, okay? Each household. That's what real men do. And I'm glad I had the chance to speak to you all.
You know what? I think about the challenges that we're all facing today in these last days. But the most important book that we all can pick up is the Word of God, and be able to spread the message. There's hope, there's love, and there's healing in the name of Jesus. And to you right now, all you have to do is call upon the name of Jesus, and He is there to help you through whatever you're going through. And I just want to thank you, Jerrell, for God blessing you to place you in my life, in my classroom, and for me to, something you saw in me, and I pray every day that it's Jesus Christ that my students see, and that we continue to go forward. I want you to know you have a link and support system with my husband and I, and we thank God for you.
And I really, really admire the fact that you're here and representing your generation, and you have the desire to do the things that's right. Yes, and with your education, it's going to be an asset. So if you're listening, listen to this young man and try to model yourself after some of the things that it's really being shown by the demonstration of his character.
Well, we want to thank all of you. Well, I'm Dr. Kim Logan-Nowlin.
I'm Arthur Nolan.
Continue to make good choices. God bless.